intended. That Manley's ultimate aim is to take Jamaica into the Cuban orbit and to transform the society into a Cuban-type society. They have, in fact, implemented many of the types of institutions that are necessary for the transformation.
What sort of thing?
Training programs. We have, for instance, some 1,000 Jamaican youths that have now been trained in Cuba under a program that has come to be known as the Brigadista program. Because the purpose of the program is to set up Marxist-Leninist brigades to return to Jamaica to indoctrinate the peasant people and the working class people.
Bless up my people. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. And in this one, my people, we have some information. So this is basically a learning video for the people that were born in the 90s or even in the 80s, you know, going up, right? And we keep seeing the Prime Minister referring to the 70s as if the 70s were more dreadful than the 80s. And some people may make gonna hear what him say a couple months ago, and then I drop some information pound as it pertains to the 80s and what Siaga did in the 80s. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. But before me make gonna hear what the Prime Minister say, my people, I want to do something for me, please and thanks. Go over to Rumba Time News and go over there and subscribe to her channel. Get her to 1K, please and thanks.
We are at that technically in full employment. No doubt, there are some youngsters there that we need to bring in. There may be persons there we need to reskill and bring in. And we have started to put programs in place. We have been anticipating that to bring them in to the system so that we can get the benefit of their labor to continue the growth of the economy. But bear this in mind. When you put someone in a job, that is the most effective way of ending absolute poverty. It will not happen overnight, but if you allow it to continue, if the electorate is discerning of what we are doing and understand what we are doing and see the pathway to it and don't get diverted as they were diverted in the 70s. We could have been like Singapore, but we wandered off into fancy and rhetoric. Singapore now has a GDP that is higher than most developed countries. A country that was colonized. They're not better than we. They may have made better choices than we have. Jamaica needs a long runway, and we need to stick to that runway to make sure that the benefits of the policies that are in place can be realized.
So in the 80s, my people, and this information is coming from Wired JA. And it says in the 80s, when Siaga came to power, the Jamaica's debt to GDP ratio was 63%. The debt ballooned to 262% of GDP in 1989, and a theme watching on my people, which represents an increase of 315.8% in Jamaica's indebtedness over the 9-year period of the Jamaica Labour Party administration. Any single-digit growth in the economy in the face of the growth in debt was of no particular significance and consequence. It must be noted that the source of the minimal growth over the period was primarily due to reduction in oil price in 1986 and beyond. Contrary to popular belief, this was not due to any successful investment projects nor any new investments apart from sweatshop jobs in the garment industry. David Rockefeller, who came to turn Jamaica into the Singapore of the Caribbean, packed his bag and left Jamaica in less than 5 months of his arrival, following several disagreements with Siaga. The ongoing attempt to pass off the 1980s as anything but an ugly and painful period for the Jamaican people is tantamount to the GG being given a throne speech to read in 2011 by the then JLP government that the economy has fully recovered. This after the IMF cut the flow of funds from the previous year in June 2010 to Jamaica, and the national debt in 2011 was growing by an average of over 10 billion US dollars per month. Things got so bad at the BOJ that in 1985 a load of crude oil arrived to be offloaded at the Montego Bay terminal, but the captain refused to unload the oil until he received payment from the JLP government. Hugh Hart, as Minister of Tourism and Energy during that time, had to quickly gather up, with the help of the police, US dollar donations from private businessmen in Mobile to pay for the crude oil. After a successful effort of the Jamaica Labour Party's government begging private citizens to pay its oil bill, the BOJ was able to pay the cargo ship captain his money. He unloaded the crude oil and left Jamaica's shores. I want to listen keenly to that party and my people of some of the things that happened under the leadership of Edward Siaga. The Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation was abolished. Duckenfield and Gray's in-sugar estates were closed. Monique Teachers College and Jamaica School of Agriculture closed. An auction system introduced where those who wanted foreign exchange to conduct business could apply to BOJ twice per week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Several hospitals were either closed or downgraded, including Ulster's Spring, Spalding's, Alexandria, Noel Holmes in Lucia, Hordley in St. Thomas, listed to be downgraded, Onoto Bay, etc. The community health aid program was abolished. The spraying of ganja, justifiable or unjustifiable, were damaging other legitimate economic efforts of the rural poor, in particular bee farmers and coffee farmers. At that time, people life in Jamaica began to make no sense. Migration and brain drain gained momentum. The major bauxite companies followed closely behind, Exxon leaving Jamaica. From 1980 to 1983, the JLP government under Siaga failed a minimum of 4 IMF tests. And as the pressure of a rapidly deteriorating economy hit Siaga, he seized on a distraction of the political crisis in Grenada and called a snap election in 1983. The People's National Party did not contest, and so the JLP had all seats in Parliament and 21 in the Senate, with no opposition in Parliament. So you can just imagine how that went down, my people. And we're seeing where the Prime Minister now, Andrew Only, seized the opportunity and called a snap election in the height of a pandemic, COVID-19. So is that different from what Siaga did, my people? And because him no have that great momentum of him winning, that's why him don't call the general election already. So he's going around wasting up the money calling these heap of by-elections here when a whole heap of them did do over a year and had my people. A whole heap of people have testimony to say how it felt under the leadership of Edward Siaga. People have to run and hide from them and sleep in a bush. The war was crazy even in that time. So I don't even know what the Prime Minister is coming or getting at when he speaks about the 70s. Right? And a whole heap of people manly let go to school, go to college, free of cost. A whole heap of people educated now because of him, with the whole Jamal and a whole heap of other programs and policies with them put in place. Right? So all of my people them were born before them time they and experience the 70s and the 80s. I want to know for drop on the comment in the comment section and make the younger folks them know what was going on at that time. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Share out the videos, them my people. Like up the videos on the road to 30k. Help me to get there, my people. Also, they can check out the YouTube shop, my people. Make some purchases. It goes in support of the channel as well. Join the membership, only a small fee to be a member of the Isabel Rose movement. When you get members shout out, you get, a whole heap of perks, you get badges beside your name, you name it. So member shout out goes to Angela and Ivan Wallace, big up on yourself, thanks for the continued support. And notification shout out goes to Evelyn Meikle, big up yourself Evelyn Meikle. If you want to be a part of the shout out, you all have to take part in liking the videos and dropping a comment. So the first person to comment and like the videos will get a notification shout out in the following videos. Stay tuned for more videos, stay tuned for more updates. Big up on yourself.